Good evening, afternoon, evening, morning, night, wherever you are. Today I'm talking about, I'm just answering a few questions today. I've had several questions from women about men ghosting, and they feel like, relationship started great. We don't know why he suddenly disappeared. Is this, come on, is this normal? And when I get questions like that, I really want to go in and kind of speak about it instead of just responding to each individual separately about the whole thing. So give me 1 second. I'm just going to share this and then I can get started. If I can figure it out. So it's why do men ghost after a few months of being together and you feel like your relationship was going on great and you just don't seem to understand why all of a sudden he's disappeared. Sometimes we need to understand as women what men are looking for in a relationship prior to jumping in to the relationship. Not every man is for you, and not every man is grown enough to have a healthy relationship. Let me say that again. Not every man is for you. Not every man is for you. Give me 1 second. Not every man is for you, and not every man is grown enough. Is grown enough to have a healthy relationship. And so when you understand those two things, thanks so much for joining. When you understand those two things, that it takes a grown man to really want to be in a healthy relationship. And it takes a grown man to want to remain in the relationship with you after connecting with you. But the first thing is to know what are men interested in. And I've written an article that I would also share with you guys. You can read it, but I'll go through it on this video so that you can kind of understand what men are looking for when they're trying to get in a relationship with you. Because when you understand what men are looking for, it becomes very easy for you to know if the man is into you when you start the relationship. Number one, men want women that are intelligent. Men want women that are intelligent. He wants to be able to hold conversations, intelligent conversations, have you contribute to the conversations in a meaningful way. Number two, men like confident women. If you're not confident in yourself and they can kind of detect that your self-esteem is a little bit on the lower side, it's very easy for them to take advantage of you and run. That's number two. Number three, men like independent women. This is key to knowing that a man will stick with you in a relationship if he's grown enough. Men like independent women. Number four, men like women that are honest and loyal to them. And then the last one is your bedroom game has to be on par. So when you meet a man, and I'm posting the article for you guys so you can go back to it. If you meet a man, the first thing you have to understand is he's already looking to connect with you on a confident level. He's looking for you to be honest with him. He's looking for you not to package anything about yourself. And so when you start to get in touch with each other, you start to learn about each other, he may disconnect because it's not what he's looking for. And when you're clingy, when you're making the calls, when you're, like I said, independent women, when you're not showing him that you're independent enough, it's very easy for him to get distracted and begin to look out for something else, for someone else. And when he starts to look, you start to feel the distance in your relationship. Another thing is if you're clingy and you're showing that you're needy, you're going to make him ghost on you. Men don't like clingy women. They want you to be on your own. They want you to be able to stand on your feet. They don't want you calling like, you call today, you call tomorrow, you're calling every other, like so frequently, you may call 5 times a day. Let him be the one doing the chasing. And when you're not allowing him to do the chase, what you end up doing is giving yourself in to get hurt, because men know the women they can play with. Let me type that out. Men know the women they can play with. Men know the women they can play with. And as long as he knows that he can play with you, he may not. And another thing that we women need to really understand is this. When it comes to knowing the women they can play with, we don't listen enough as women at the beginning of a relationship or at the beginning of the friendship stage of a relationship. When a man meets you, we women are in a way where we show our emotions first and we get excited. And when you get excited with your emotions, you're going to run on your emotions and you're not going to pay attention to certain things that he will say to you that is the truth that he's communicating to you. And so when you're not paying attention to him, you may ignore those little messages and the little flags that you can easily pick up if you're not running on your emotions. So, like, let me give you an example. A man may say something like, right now, I'm still working on myself. I'm trying to figure things out. Let's take it nice and slow. And, but, I can't do without the sex. And he's already giving you a hint that he wants to take it nice and slow, but he can't do without the sex. And if you're someone who wants to keep yourself, continue to be, celibate, and he says something to you and you're already getting, emotionally attached to him, what you'll do is you end up giving in to say, you know what, I already like him a lot. So I may be able to give up the cookie just to keep him. But he's already giving you the hint. Let's take it nice and slow, but I can't do without the sex. Nice and slow because he may not be ready for commitment, but he wants the sex. And so you're thinking, okay, I can take it nice and slow. I really like him. He's very charming. He's very attractive. I like the social part of him. He's got a great sense of humor, and you get carried away. But he's not grown enough to be ready for commitment yet, but he wants to play. And so in the process, you end up giving yourself in to kind of keep him. And when you do that, what typically happens is when he has the cookie and he's not as good as he wants it. I'm just being very down to earth about it today. When the man has the cookie and he's not as good as he's expecting, he's going to ghost on you. He's going to just be gone. Sometimes they don't really go completely because they haven't found somebody else. They haven't found another woman yet to replace you with. And in the case of where you may be dealing with an abusive partner, he may not have a supply yet. For the abusive people, it's always a supply. For the normal, regular, empathic person who is not abusive, is because he hasn't found another partner yet. And so he's keeping you, but he's coming back to you. And you may discover that when he comes back, all you're doing is having sex. And you're not really talking about your relationship. Every time you bring up the relationship, he reminds you again, remember, we want to take things slow. But you just really want to get on the next level of the relationship to get going because you've been excited, you've been captivated, you become emotionally attached to him. And so all you're looking at is just that emotional attachment to keep going on. It may not be that you really like him in that, but because you may be lonely, you may be needy, you may want someone just to be there with you, and because you're already attached to him, you're going to find it hard to detach, especially if you've already given into the sex. Slowly, you start to talk to him, and you try to win him back, which is what some of us women do. Not all women do it. Some of us do it. You try to win him back because you're emotionally attached to him. You're trying to show him why you're the right woman for him, but he already sees you're not. He already sees that you're clingy. He already sees that he can get in and get out the way he wants. So he's already enjoying what he's getting. But you're not getting anything in return. Remember what I said at the very beginning. He said, let's take it nice and slow, but I can't do without the sex. Which means I'm only here for the sex, but I'm going to play it nice and slow until I can get it. And then if I get it and it's not good enough for me, I may ghost on you. But I can also, these are the things that we don't hear as women. And I'm giving you all the pointers when you hear things like, let's take it nice and slow, but I can't do without sex. So when he says that to you, he's already communicating to you, I'm in for the sex. I really want to take it slow. I'm not ready for a relationship yet. I'm still trying to figure me out. But when you bring up relationship and closeness and where are we with the relationship, he avoids answering those questions. And then you try to prove to him again, this can work, and you keep trying to make him see why the relationship can work. But he already knows what he came for. But you missed out what he came for. So he may see you're clingy, he may see you're needy, he may see that you're constantly in his space and you're not giving him a breather. So he's just going to keep coming for the sex until he finds another partner, and then he will finally ghost on you. So you don't want to wait until that time. You want to really begin to pay attention. Nana says, when is a man a perfect catch? There's nothing like perfection, Nana. So you have to understand there is no perfection in relationships. What you do is ensure that your core values are in line and in sync with each other's values. Are your values matching? Those are some of the compatibility tests that you would have to do. Do your values match up? Are your requirements being met on your own before you meet the partner? If your requirements are not being met, then what you will do is have unrealistic expectations. And because you're having unrealistic expectations, those will lead you to become emotionally attached to him. And then when you're emotionally attached, he's going to take an advantage of that moment because he sees that he can play with you. You're already just emotionally attached and he's emotionally detached. He's not even interested in the seriousness of the relationship because, like I said, read those 6 things again. He may not have seen how confident you are. He sees you're not independent. He sees that you can't, he sees that you're not good in the bedroom. He sees that you're not bringing out the best in him because you're constantly trying to be in his space. You may not even be asking him, where do you want to be? What are you doing with yourself? And sometimes as a woman, you do more than being supportive. You want to be the mother. You try to play the motherly role. And when you're trying to play the motherly role in the relationship, he's going to remind himself, I have a mom who's already doing this for me, so why should I hang on with you? He may not say it. Men don't want to hurt women with words. And that's why sometimes they ghost. Because they don't want to hurt you. They've already hinted you at the beginning of the friendship that, listen, I ain't ready for the seriousness. I want to take it slow, but I'm going to have sex. And if you decide to give the sex and he sees it's not good enough, Nana, I have to give it, I have to say it as it is because women need to hear this more often so we don't break our own hearts. So if he figures out she ain't great in bed, he's going to kind of buy time until he finds somebody else. And when he finds somebody else, he's completely gone. When he's gone, he may even pick up your phone call because he kind of pities where you are. And when he picks up your phone calls, he's just listening to you. You may even be talking to him and asking questions and he's not answering, but he's listening to you and he's telling you, but I'm listening to you. So you have to understand we women are wired differently from men. Men know what they want. They know the person they can play with. They know the person who they can figure out, can we take it to the next level and then we can work something out. I'm compatible with you in 99% area, and then everything else can work out. You may even hear a silly excuse as simple as you're not physically attractive. But at the very beginning, you were physically attractive, but all of a sudden, they give you that excuse because they don't want to hurt your feelings. So they're just looking for something to say to you to get away from you. But if you keep trying to be in their space and beg and plead, they will continue to take advantage of the moment. Oh, you're begging, you're pleading with me. And I've shared in most of my books, Being Single and Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality, the key to a man's heart is not food. The key to a man's heart is sex. When you give him good sex, you can get anything you want from him. But when you're not giving him anything that is good enough for him, he'll just keep you company. He'll keep you company as long as he wants to keep you company. You have to set the pace at which the relationship wants to go. If you know you're not ready to give in when he says things like, take it slow, but I need the sex. You can say, you know what? As part of my requirements, you have to be able to wait. Then if you cannot wait, and you say it so boldly in a friendly way, if you cannot wait, then I may not be the woman for you. And at that point, when he hears such things, he will pivot and, he'll part ways with you. He may even tell you, you know what? Since you're not ready for that, let's just be friends. And at that point, when he says, let's just be friends, as a woman, don't try to take it further and think that him saying, let's just be friends now means that something will change in the future. No, he's already told you, we're only going to be friends if you don't want to give up the cookie anymore. But don't push it by trying to still make him see you're the one for him. Every man knows the woman they can play with and the woman they can get serious with. And you have to recognize that you also have to set that pace for yourself and create that boundary for yourself. Not every man is good enough for you. And not every man deserves to be in your cookie jar. Let me say that again. Not every man is good enough for you. Not every man is good enough for you. And not every man deserves to get in your cookie jar. If I can type, deserves to get in your cookie jar. And as long as you realize these two things, you won't give up your cookie too easily. Because men will tell you right from the very beginning. You go on that first date and you start to ask him questions. You can read the body language. You can read through his eyes. Look right directly in his eyes when you're having that initial conversation. And you can tell what he's all about. You can tell if he's going to play. This is a very good time to even go on a date, to start to this is a great time to find a partner if you're single. And this is a great time to evaluate your partner because we're on lockdown. And so all you have is video chat. They can't lie to you. Don't get into the textationship. If all your relationships is about is texting, you're in a textationship, you're not in a relationship. If all he wants to do from the beginning is just to text you randomly, guess what? He's likely texting 5 or 6 or 7 women at the same time. So you all have your slots at that point. A man who wants a relationship with you will be willing to be on the phone with you or be on a video call with you. But if all he wants to do is text you from morning till night, tell him, I'm too grown for that. That's a boy thing. That's not a man thing. So if all he's doing is texting you morning till night and you're getting excited and emotional about the text, he would easily play on you. He may even begin to ask you to send him videos or pictures of yourself in your birthday suit. You don't want to sit with him texting. You're too grown for that. If you're ready to be in a healthy relationship, you would have phone conversations and you would also have video calls. And when you get on the video calls, it's not about your emotions. You're looking to evaluate whether your requirements match up with his, whether your core values match up with his, and if your love languages are the same or not, or if your love languages are compatible. You're looking at compatibility based on your core values, your requirements, and your love language. And if any of those don't match, then you know what? Just say, you know what? I think we're better off as friends. Men like it when you're bold enough to tell them the truth and serve them with the truth. They may say you hurt my feelings, but you know what? At the very beginning, they don't care if their feelings are that hurt at the very beginning because they're not coming on serious. until you start getting a bit closer and a bit intimate before you can truly hurt a man's feelings. You don't hurt his feelings at the beginning when he doesn't know much about you yet. It's when he knows much about you and you know a lot about him, that's when you can truly hurt his feelings. He may say to you at the beginning, oh, don't hurt my feelings. And you get emotional and say, you know what? I don't really want to hurt him. What about yourself? Do you want to hurt yourself instead of just cutting loose at that point? Do you want to hurt yourself? You always have to look out for your best interest. The main reason why we women get hurt a lot is because we put other people before ourselves. Oh, I care about him. What about yourself? You don't care about yourself yet, but you want to take care of him. Hey, Dele, thanks so much for joining from the UK. I hope you're feeling much better. You know, you have to understand how a man thinks. They think differently than we women. We're the ones who are like, oh, I haven't spoken to him. I need to talk to him. But he feels very complete with himself. He's okay being alone. When a man tells you he doesn't like being alone, two things. I will tell you the two things. One, he doesn't like doing the chores in the house anymore. Two, he doesn't like being alone because he needs the constant sex and the constant cuddling and lovey-dovey stuff. But men can be alone than we women can be alone. That's why you find out that men can be single up till their late 40s or early 50s. And they don't have a woman. Because likely all the women are flunging to them and they realize, she's not the one. I can play and I can move on. It's what we put at the table and offer to them. They will just take it. They will take it and run with it. And then when you start saying, but can you see this relationship can work? And he already knows you're not the one. He's just going to be like, okay, she's begging, she's pleading. I haven't found somebody else. So you know what? I can keep getting the freebie sex. But when he's long gone, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, why was I doing all of that? He hurt me. No, he didn't, because he told you some of the things. He told you the truth at the beginning, some of the things that you did not want to hear, but you needed to hear. So you have to pay attention to your emotions. Tame your emotions. Don't let your emotions tame you. Tame your emotions. Don't let your emotions tame you. And you always have to remember that your emotions and feelings have expiration date. Before you sit with the emotions and feelings, ask yourself, am I doing myself justice by giving myself away? Or am I paying attention to my own needs and ensuring that we're in line with each other, we're compatible in these areas before I even get lost in my emotions? One thing, I grew up with my brothers and their friends, and I learned a lot from sitting with them. Kudos to them. I hope they don't scold me for sharing some of the things I learned from them. I mean, I used to hang with them and their girlfriends, and I really learned a lot. And that's one of the reasons I have more male friends than I do female friends. And my female friends don't understand when they see me having more male friends than I do female friends, because I'm learning. I'm learning from the male. I'm trying to see where their head is. I'm trying to see how they think and what they think about women, and I'm using it. And sometimes I will tell you, my inbox gets filled up sometimes with this man trying to slide in my DM and put messages. And I play along. I'm a writer, so I play along. I'm a writer and I'm a coach. I play along sometimes just to see where their head is, to see what the trends are in terms of dating, so I can help other people. And at the end of the day, I serve them with, you don't even know where you are with yourself, not to talk of trying to put somebody else in the picture. And if you start to see that they don't have life goals, that's another major thing that you have to figure out. What are their goals? What do they aspire in life? And if it's not in line with what you aspire for yourself, forget about it. You deserve a healthy relationship. You deserve a partner who will love you for who you are. You deserve a partner who will not ghost on you. You deserve a partner who will not focus so much on your flaws, but focus on who you are and accept you for who you are as a woman. He would only ghost because he's not ready for what you're looking for. Men sometimes like to play around, and if they see this girl is not someone I can play with, I see her heart. The thing that men look at is if they can connect with your soul than your body, they can see if it's a woman they can, work with to get to where you both need to be. But if the man, and I've shared my quote with you before, never allow a man to connect to your body before he connects with your soul. Let me say that again. Never allow a man to connect with your body before he connects with your soul. That's a quote from my new book on Becoming Restored. You have to really understand that when he connects with your body, he will not focus on connecting with your soul anymore. You've already given him meat. You've already served him with the steak. And then you now say, you know what? Do you want some seasoning on your steak? Do you want some steak sauce? But he already had the steak. So the sauce doesn't matter to him anymore at that point. Let me just type that quote out. Never allow a man to connect with your body before he connects with your soul. And so when you really grasp that, you will listen more at the beginning of the friendship. Just listen more. Ask him all the tons of questions you want to ask him at the beginning. And if you're asking him questions at the beginning and he's getting agitated, honey, take a walk. He's not the man for you. If a man is getting agitated about, you got too many questions. And another thing that you have to look out for at the beginning, abusers tend to woo you at the beginning of a relationship than at any other point. Abusers tend to be fast-paced when it comes to a relationship. You look at it as he's calling you all the time at the beginning so that he can get your attention. And he's trying to move too fast. Abusers will be the first one to start calling you sweetheart, honey, at the beginning of your friendship. When you haven't even said, okay, we'll go on a date. Just them talking to you, you're going to hear, honey, sweetie, and that makes your head swell a bit like, oh, he's already into me. No, sometimes he's not. Let me tell you how some of the tips to really figure out if you're on a date, if you're going on a dinner date with an abuser. You go into the restaurant and you sit down with that abuser right there. The abuser gets very aggressive with your server. Like, oh, why did you serve her with half glass of water? Why is it not full? Where is there something on the plate that's not supposed to be on the plate? And all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's not a big deal. And he makes it a big deal. At that point, don't think about, oh, he was very nice to me at the very beginning, so I can continue on with him. No, he's gonna get into the cookie jar. And once he gets in the cookie jar, he already sees that your self-esteem is a bit low, or he may see that your self-esteem is low. He may see that you're attached to him. And at that point, he's gonna woo you, get into the cookie jar, and after that, he's gonna ghost on you. That's an abuser for you when you start the relationship. They will show you some signs that they're an abuser, but you may not pay attention to it. And so abusers also ghost. They give you the silent treatment. Why? Because they want you to start begging and pleading and chasing them so that they can go on a smear campaign and they can devalue you and you can become a supply of negative energy to them. So they get violent later on. I just wanted to throw that tip about, at the beginning, how to recognize an abuser. But like I said, make sure you know what you're looking for. Because when you know what you're looking for and you're listening more at the very beginning of the relationship, it's very easy for you to catch those little phrases like, I want to take it slow, but I would always want sex. That's a man telling you, I'm not ready for commitment, but I'm ready for sex only. And so if you're not willing to give up your celibacy or abstinence, just say, you know what, we're not compatible. It doesn't meet up with my requirements. We can just be friends. And then you don't give the room for you both to be in a space alone, because it's very easy for a man to get into that space after he wants sex from you, but you're withholding it, to get into a space and to convince you to give it up. Men know how to do that very easily. So I got a lot of questions in my inbox this week because I shared about dating online and how easy it is to go on a date now, because there are so many singles at home and everybody is bored. And this is a great time to meet someone online. It may be in a group, it may be on Instagram, it may be on WhatsApp, it may be through a friend that that you connect with and maybe exchange some comments online, and they kind of like you and they get into your space. It may even be on an online dating app. But then you have to always put yourself first and remember what your requirements and your core values are. Don't get carried away at first. If there are questions, I will take your questions now before I sign off. But remember what I said. Not every man is good for you, and not every man deserves to get in your cookie jar. Not every man is good for you, and not every man deserves to get in your cookie jar. If there are questions, I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. If there are no questions, I will definitely be signing off. I need to hop on some training I'm doing just to get myself, continue to educate myself. Like I said, more is in becoming restored, because I shared all the things that I've experienced in my personal space and how you can also figure it out and make sure that you're not repeating the same thing. Being single is another great one. Being single also has all this stuff in it, and then you can learn more. Bunny has a question. She said, how much time should we give ourselves before leaving? Don't give yourself any time, because you're the one trying to figure out if you're trying to vet the partners. That's a very great question, Bunny, by the way. So you're trying to figure out if this man is the man for you, and he's trying to figure out if you're the woman for him. But if you're seeing that his interest level is very low, you have to tell yourself, you know what? I'm not going to sit around for this crap. If he really wants to be in your life, when you decide to just leave and tell him, you know what? I'm done. I don't think this will work out. If he really wants to be in your life, he will make an attempt. And you will know when he makes an attempt, because his actions will speak louder than his words. So don't wait too long. Don't say, you know what, I want to give him another chance. I want to, maybe give him another week or 2 weeks to see if, he'll change. Men don't change because you want them to change. Men change because they've seen a woman they need to change for. Let me say that again. Men don't change because you want them to change. Men change because they've seen a woman that deserves them, the need for them to change. They see her and they see, if I don't change myself, I will lose this good woman. And so they decide, you know what? I used to be a player, but I have met this woman and I don't want to play anymore. Nana said, I am learning and adding from you, coach. Thanks so much, Nana. And you have to understand that if a man wants to change, he has to see this woman deserves every single thing for me to change, so that I cannot lose her. I can make her stay in my life forever. And he will tell you, men are so darn straightforward. He will tell you, you know what? You've shown me things that make me want to change. And I will do it because I don't want to lose you. You will hear men say that to you. You will hear men say that to you. I've had somebody say it to me prior, but then when I was still in my teenage years, in my 20s, he said that, but then the words never matched up with the actions. So at that time, I said, you know what? We're still too young. You don't even know yourself yet. What do you want? But men, grown men will tell you, honey, I'm ready to change myself. And you're wondering, what's there for you to change? He knows what he needs to change in his own life. You may be wondering, but you're okay like this, but you don't know deep down, because you're not him. You don't know deep down those things that he needs to work on. And he may even tell you, like, give me a few months. We'll be talking, but just give me a few months. I need to work on myself. And he will be calling you so that he makes sure he's not losing you while he's working on himself. He will become accountable and responsible by calling you and giving you all the details of the things that he's been working on to change for you as the woman he wants in his life. But if you start telling him you need to change, he'll be like, for what? Maybe you have problems and then maybe you need to fix yourself. And at that point, you can easily tell, dude ain't ready to do anything. He's not ready to become accountable. He's not ready for commitment. He's not ready for a relationship. He's just a game player and a time waster. You're welcome, Bunny. You know, I wanted to really help out with this because sometimes we allow our emotions as women, and I believe it's because we have the motherly instincts in us. We allow that to carry us on because we may have seen his potential, but this is another major thing that you have to remember as a single woman. You may see his potentials, but if he doesn't see his own potentials, nothing will work. Let me say that again. You may see a man's potential, but if the man doesn't see his potential, nothing will work. You can't make him see it. He has to come to see it on his own. And I need to type that out. Give me 1 second. You may see his potentials, but you can't make him see it. But you can't make him see his potentials. I can't type today. You can't make him see his potentials. He would have to see his potentials on his own. Bunny said we care too much and don't want to give up on him. Yeah. And it's okay to care. It's really very much okay to care so much about him. That's your motherly instinct sometimes, wanting to hold on. Also, sometimes it may not be your motherly instincts. It may be your underlying pain. It may be your underlying childhood experiences or trauma. Feeling abandoned as a child. Feeling unloved as a child. Feeling unhealed yet. Not whole yet. So you're going to become codependent on him. I've shared on codependency, and I write a lot about codependency in Beyond the Pain. I also have a coaching session for codependency alone because it's a lot of inner working and it's a lot of inner healing process. It's not something I can share. It will take me like 4 or 5 days to get it. And so it's one of the courses I do in the coaching session to help you in one of my coaching programs, Mastery, Purposeful Mastery for Singles. That's how you really uncover a lot of things about why you're giving in. When I started to heal myself, I discovered so many things, and I'll be like I shared yesterday, I'll be like, did I really do that? You know, so it takes you to work on yourself. It takes you to want to really become committed to yourself, to hold yourself accountable, to say, you know what, no matter what it takes, I'm going to do the work. When I started with my coaches, I didn't want to stay. But then I had to ask myself, am I being true to myself? I shared on that yesterday. Am I being true to myself? Am I walking away from myself and walking into everybody that's dumping me or trashing my space? And then I find myself repeating patterns and going round the circle. But what do we do when we do that? Like I shared yesterday, you project your pain over to them because you're not ready to own the truth. If there are more questions, you can type your questions. Let me answer them. Type them below and I can answer them while I'm on. If not, get the books, Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality, Being Single, Beyond the Pain, and On Becoming Restored. For On Becoming Restored is not released yet. It's not launch date yet. I'm going to launch it next month, but I have 10 copies that will go out if you purchase from my website. Right now, you will get your copy before launch date. So I don't see any more questions. I'm going to sign off. I hope this was helpful to you. Again, remember, focus on yourself first. The more you focus on yourself to become better, the more you become committed to yourself, the more you hold yourself accountable, the more you say yes to yourself, you will set healthy boundaries. And you will realize, if I don't do the work in my space, if I don't prepare myself and know what I'm looking for, how can I attract someone who will help me grow beyond where I am to where I need to be? And how can I do the same for them? Remember, we are always what we attract. You only attract people based on where you are with yourself. If you really want to attract better, then you're going to have to do the work to become better. You're going to have to get coached or educate yourself by reading books that will help you get there. Nothing we don't work on will work for us. Let me say that again. Nothing we don't work on will work for us. I hope you all have a great evening. Take good care. Talk to you soon. God bless. Bye-bye.